business person and you today who is in the accounting space. So while we used technology to improve our lives in the third industry revolution, now technology is starting to work on us, around us, and for us in ways that aren't always visible. Now technology has no doubt caused a wave of panic within the various professions, and the accountants are no exception. So the question that has often been asked is, with the rapid advancements in technology, will accountants still have jobs? Will we, the business people, still need them? Or AI is what we're going to be embracing? So the answer is simple, and according to experts is in this area, whereas technology can automate pretty much a whole range of procedures, there are tasks that computers cannot perform. So you're wondering, okay, what are these tasks and what can you do as a person in the accounting space to pretty much make sure that you boost and up your game such that even with the introduction of AI, you still remain competitive? So in studios, I'm joined by Mr. Charles Lutimba. He is the Manager Standards and Technical Support at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants right here in the country. We're going to be real this morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mala.
So AI and accounting.
Sure.
Accounting is a huge profession with different facets in there. And someone would argue that AI actually did come in a few years back. It's only that now we're making noise about it, because how we used to do accounting 10, 20 years back has totally changed. Now we are having accounting systems that are making it easier for the accountants to do their role. So what's your take on this, and to what magnitude has AI, been embraced in this profession?
Sure. Thank you, Mala. Good morning, viewers. We take the cognizance of the fact that the profession has been swept by a number of disruptions, like it is happening elsewhere in the world. We see a number of disruptions in form of technologies. Talk about the blockchains, talk about the data analytics, talk about cloud computing, talk about robotics, and then the AI you're talking about. As accountants, the debate has been the fact that these advances in technologies are going to sweep away the work in the role of an accountant. And from our perspective, we say that is not the fact. The fact is these technologies have come and they are instead going to enhance the work of an accountant. We take cognizance of the fact that a number of our services have really been empowered and enhanced by these technologies. I'll give an example of accounting services. You realize that back in the days, you would have a transaction, post it, say on a credit, debit, close up an account, transfer the balance into what we call our trial balance, get into the trial balance, close it up, and then get into what we call our financial statements and have a report thereafter. This all is going to be simplified with the emergence of these technologies. We see by just an input of data, a report is generated. But what happens is that at the end of it all, the businessman out there, the investor out there, will now need a competent person to help them interpret the result of what has been input.
Right.
Talk about the auditing services. You realize that technology has also impacted this service. We see a number of firms, what you call accounting firms, auditing firms, embracing technologies. We see, for example, drones are being used in stock take. There is what we call stock take in our procedures. If, for example, I'm going to do an audit of NTV, I need to find out how much consumables, how much inventory do you have at year end. What accountants are now doing, they are employing what we call the drones. The drones are looking over, simply employ a machine that goes and does the counting of stock.
Correct.
We have other procedures like sampling. Our standards provide for a sampling. They permit us, for example, to take on a given magnitude of samples. If I'm to do an audit of an entity, I don't need to count all available transactions. I don't need to do tests on all transactions. I am only expected to do at a particular.
So your argument this morning is that AI is not here to take the jobs of them that are in the accounting profession, but to assist them and make them actually be more efficient and effective at their roles. But as we look into this further and try to, pretty much, get into the ins of it, I did bump into a report by both, PwC and we also did have Deloitte coming up with a report, and they said, and actually they did name the reports something to do with AI, and for PwC the report was, and you can check this out, it was Hi Robot. For Deloitte it was the robots are coming, and pretty much the argument was, now accountants and them that are in this profession have to now classify themselves, in terms of looking at, okay, fine, where am I right now? What are the roles I'm doing? Am I really going to remain competitive in the next 5 years? So I want us to go there so that we can enlighten them that are in the accounting space, such that if it means going for an extra course, upping your game, such that once AI actually comes through, because business people will embrace AI for cost cutting. So once this, AI is actually embraced to some extent, then their roles are not rendered redundant. So let's look at that. What are the lowest possibilities of some of this as we look at, and I think I can give you a list. Let's look at auditing. Let's also look at financial accountancy. Let's look at management accountancy. Let's look at tax experts, pretty much bookkeeping that has already been taken out of the your window, and also financial analysts. Let's just break down the accounting tree and see which roles are going to be replaced and what an accountant watching us today has to do to up their game, so to speak.
Thank you, Bala. Viewers, you will notice that, like I said, technology has come. What we only need to do as accountants is to embrace it. You realize that we have our supply chain. The accounting process begins with data entry, data is processed, and the report is manufactured thereafter. After the report is made, that is where now the accountant will need to play a very, very critical role. So as we're transcending and moving with these different technologies, our ultimate purpose is to see an accountant that has evolved from being a number cruncher. The public out there views accountants as number crunchers.
Correct.
We're saying we're shifting away from that mode. We're now moving into business advisors, business advisory.
Interpreters.
And we're saying this is the information, this is the trait that a computer, that AI and other robotics will not do. Once a report is generated, what next? So the process, the supply chain is clear, from data entry to report generation. But now the accountant who will be in position to withstand all these pushes, all these shocks, will be one who can utilize the report. Critically think, critically analyze, communicate, persuade, and then move on an investor on how to use whatever the output of the technologies has been.
All right, and in the accounting tree, we do know that in terms of us having, tax experts, I mean, many don't go into that space. I really don't know why. Maybe you can tell us. But as we break it down, what can someone who is, an auditor, who has chosen that, I'm going to specialize in auditing, what can they do to ensure that, they up their game? Just a few years back, someone who took a course, in CISA stood a better chance at getting a job compared to someone who just had a basic CPA and that's it. So what can they do to up their game? And I know that CPA, the institute is actually doing, quite a bit to ensure that they equip, these people in this profession with more. So someone who is an auditor, let's just talk of auditors, because now the normal bookkeeping accountants are gone. We're no longer there. So what can an auditor do to up their game?
Incidentally, the institute is doing a lot of work in ensuring that the evolving role of an accountant is pronounced, and this evolving role automatically translates into having better and relevant skills in the relevant markets. You realize that we have what we call a code of ethics. Our code of ethics is built on 5 pillars, and among these 5 pillars, there is that pillar of professional competence. Professional competence simply addresses the fact that an accountant, call them an auditor, internal or external, need to embark on an activity that they have competence in. So if technologies are changing, you need to build yourself with this relevant competence that is needed in there. We do offer a number of continuous professional development. These are trainings that we lay out a year. We have over 50 trainings in a year that we give to our members. And these trainings, we tend to discuss issues around these AI, robotics, and a number of artificial intelligence that comes on and how it would impact our accountants. We have also a project of reviewing our syllabus. You know, every time we send out a number of professionals to the market. So we review our syllabus and base it on what, for example, is trending in the market. And where we have these technologies, we make sure we include a number of these aspects into our syllabus to make sure that the person we put out there is a person who is relevant. But the ultimate fact is technology is not displacing an accountant. Technology is simply enhancing the work of an accountant. So for an accountant to exploit this opportunity, they need to embark on themselves, rebuild, re-engineer, and then rethink on how they would stay relevant, on how they build their negotiation skills, on how they build their communication skills, because this emotional intelligence is what is like
the robots cannot do.
Sure.
Right. And so as we bring this to a close, maybe for you to just speak to the accountants and tell them how they can access, these courses, for example, because they want to know how much then, you can maybe put a percentage to it, how much then will be taken up by AI and how much will still remain for the profession, for human beings. Can you put a 70-30 to that or an 80-20 to that? How much will be taken up? Because now that means that in the profession there's going to be huge competition.
Sure.
Huge competition.
Sure. I don't want to speak to statistics, percentages, especially without empirical data, but what I can communicate to the accountants out there is that technologies have come. We just need to embrace them. How do you embrace them? Embrace them by reinventing yourself, rethinking yourself, because a relevant accountant for the future will be one who can communicate, who can negotiate, who can shift from the traditional number crunching to now a business advisor. Because this aspect, this trait of emotional intelligence is what is lacking in the robotics.
Emotional intelligence.
Sure.
Wow. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. So you're saying that all the accountants need to check with CPA.
Sure.
Yeah, to be able to know what they ought to do to remain relevant.
Sure.
Okay.
And we do provide a number of trainings, we do provide a number of resources. When one visits our website, www.icpu.co.ug, they can have rich a field of resources that we have developed around an evolving role of an accountant.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Lutimba, Manager of Standards Technical Support at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants right here in the country. Now you know, yes, you've been having that question on will accounting be automated? Will the robots and AI, artificial intelligence, take over this profession? Of course, many other professions are pretty much still scared. We are having telemarketers who are saying, our jobs could be taken up. We're also having, auditors saying that, hey, but now they have a solution. Accountants saying that, hey, yeah, but now they have the solution. Sure. So be sure to share this video with your friends who are in the accounting space. Just to be your friend's keeper. Let them not remain comfortable. Sure. They need to up their game. And CPA says that, you know what, they have the solution. So don't worry. We're going to share this video on YouTube. Be sure to share it. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. AI is here and is here to stay. That's it for business updates this particular morning, and of course that brings to a wrap. Morning at 10 TV has come to an end. Thank you so much for being part of us. Yes, the hashtag will forever be Morning at 10 TV. So keep those views coming. Keep those views coming. My name is Malaki Villaudera. On behalf of myself, Rita Kanya, David Rukasi, the producer director, every single person behind the scenes. We also have one of us called Adam. We are saying salute. See you tomorrow, Friday. Yes, let's wind up the week together. 6:30 to 9 a.m. Have a blessed day.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Timeline is brought to you by
Everywhere you go. OTV, live it, love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that now you can Shazam a song through your headphones? That sounds pretty interesting. Well, Google and our friends at Apple are working more together, and YouTube have a new update for you. Plus, Facebook